Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to Dis-Cember. And today we're looking at, this is probably going to be the final uh, movie based on a Disney Channel show. We're looking at the Sweet Life movie, which is based on, is a continuation of Sweet Life on Deck, which is a continuation of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Mm-hmm. So, there are others I could do. Like there's a Phineas and Ferb movie. There's a Kim Possible movie. There's a live action one, which I really could do because that's more of a remake, not a continuation. There's a Proud Family movie. Did I say that? No. But there's even a Good Like Charlie one, but that's a Christmas one. Nah. This is good enough. There's even the Hannah Montana one, which I said I'm not doing. So, no, thank you. So, my history with Zack and Cody is this. I didn't watch the original show when it was on. I've seen reruns. Like, I was big with Disney XD. Now, hey, they brought it back to Spectrum, so I've been trying to check it out. They're playing Phineas and Ferb out on there, but, almost 40. I don't need to watch Disney XD. But I was big with that when it happened, because it was for the boys, and they had some shows there. But, so I watched reruns of Zack and Cody there. My brother was in to the original Zack and Cody. For some reason, I didn't get into the show until it was the Sweet Life on Deck. I knew some things, like they made references, like Esteban or the Twin Girls or Arwen showed up on the boat, and their dad was played by Robert Doherty. So, yeah. But, yeah, and so, doing my research, Wikipedia, and people's videos on YouTube, so at first I was like, okay, this takes place after, like, is this a finale movie, or is it not? And they mentioned they haven't graduated yet, and Cody's still trying to get in college, which I know from the finale, because first time I had access to Disney Plus, I watched all of The Sweet Life on Deck. I know Cody doesn't get into college, spoiler alert. So I know this is before that. But it's also confusing because one of the plot points is that Zach is following a girl around because he thinks she's pretty. But at this point in the show, because apparently this takes place between the prom episode and the final episode, Zach has a girlfriend and spent all the prom episode trying to chase after her, trying to get to dance or whatever. And now, he's chasing this other girl. And it's very clear when you look at who directed this and who wrote this. Two guys who have nothing to do with the show. And this was probably handled as a different production. They were probably doing this while they were doing the other stuff, and it's not connected in that sense, which is why there are numerous problems. Well, a few problems. And this was actually a first time watch. I think I saw bits and pieces of it, but never the full thing. Wow, this is weird. This is weird. Even as someone who was a fan of the show this was based on, this was weird. Because, like, there's a Zack and Cody main plot. And you have a subplot with London talking to dolphins and running around with the other extra characters besides Zach's girlfriend, who is not here, who was played by Zoe Deutsch, by the way, but she's not in this. I don't know. But I don't know. And the plot is that Cody has this internship thing, could help him get into Yale, but Zach messes it up, and then the guy comes back, although I did call something here, and says, hey, actually, I have another project for you. And it's this Gemini project that has to do with twins. And when this plot starts going that way, I went, this is a weird plot for this kind of a movie. I don't even know where usually they announce where they're docked. We don't really get to know where they're docked. in this because each episode is usually about a different place they go, which could be used to teach kids about different cultures if they cared enough to actually do research on cultures. Because apparently, watch Kean Carlisle's video. Apparently, they didn't do a lot of researching the customs of these, because he talked to some people from those countries, and they're like, no, that's not, no. Sometimes there were some things, but they're not, no. Okay, so Cody. So I guess that little backstory on the show. So the Sweet Life on Deck is an extension of the Sweet Life on Cody, but it's a new show, so they didn't have to pay them season 4 wages. They said pay them, go back to season 1 wages. We can pay you less money now. It's a new show. It's not the 4th season. Even though I always counted it as that, but anyway, which lasted for 3 seasons. Strangely enough, the original series had 87 episodes. This one, 71 episodes. That pushes the 65 episode rule. That's a no. But so they caused chaos in the Tipton Hotel, and now they're on the SS Tipton, causing chaos on there, but now they're teenagers. Maybe it's because they were older as well. I don't know. But it's Zach, Cody, and London Tipton, who is a stupid. Literally stupid. They do a joke 4 times in this. No. Dolphins aren't fish. They're mammals. Well, they don't have humps. No. Not camels. Mammals. Then why don't they have humps? They did it 4 times. They try to say that they're mammals, not camels. Why do they have humps? I always find it weird too how dolphins can be certain mammals. Are whales mammals too? I think. Whales, dolphins. Sharks are fish. Anyway. So, by this point in the series, Cody is dating Bailey, who is this new girl who disguised herself as a boy because they didn't have room in the girls' cabin because London wanted her own room. But she ended up getting Bailey's roommate, and then Zach has his own room. For some reason, which is weird when Maya shows up. They have rooms, somebody left. There's also Marcus, played by Doc Shaw. He left halfway through season 3 because he was going to be on Pair of Kings. And then, like I said, Zach is dating Maya at this point, but they don't mention that in the movie because the guys probably don't know anything about it. And then you have, in fact, it feels like they only skimmed certain plot points and not all of them. Because you got the Cody wants to get in the Yale plot. They talk about the car that he's going to get if he gets into college. That's about it. Woody likes food. And it's very jarring because, okay, so where you mix real world locations, and then on the flip side of it, you have a green screen of what's supposed to be like an ocean and stuff. It's really weird. Because there's this scene where, so Cody's trying to tell Bailey that he can't spend time with her on spring break because he's got to do this internship to get into Yale. But Zach spoils it. And in this scene, you see Woody holding on to him, and Zach and Bailey are all on a practical ship in a real location. Or Cody and Bailey, excuse me. But then it turns to Zach, and he's clearly hanging around on a green screen. And it doesn't work. I do like it that Cody uses a sandwich to distract Woody so he drops the fishing pole. Zach goes in the water. Which... okay, there's water there. But yeah. And Bailey gets mad and breaks up with Cody again. It was like the millionth time here. Because they broke up at the end of season 2 for no real reason. Because she thought he was cheating on her. Really, he was just practicing his date with London. And he explained that. And she still broke up with him. They don't get back together till the middle of season 3 when he has to rescue her from a tornado, basically. And then she almost doesn't go back, but she does. And yeah, there's a thing with a chocolate heart and Sean Kingston. Girl, you make me dum 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 be dooby dum 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 dum. I love you so. Yeah, he's in an episode. There's a whole thing. And they had to pretend Mr. Mosby's birthday party was going on. There's so much. Mr. Mosby is also here because he is walking Cody to his internship. And London and Zach are also there. And London eats this weird fruit. And so there's this weird subplot that oddly does lead to something, but you don't think it's going to. Where London eats this fruit. She only eats it once and she barely swallows it. Yet, she's able to hear dolphins and crabs. Later doesn't make sense. And stuff. And she hears it for longer than it should affect her, having not eaten much of that fruit. But it does. All day she's talking to dolphins and stuff. There's even this thing with crabs that she talks to. They're planning an escape, and they jump at everyone. And every once in a while, it'll cut away from the main plot, which you're supposed to be invested in, to follow the other 3, as they're walking around, basically doing nothing but complain about Cody and shit, and how she's not gonna call him anymore. She called him so many times, and they take their cell phones away because this guy doesn't want it. Anyway, Zach really it is kind of also Cody's fault, because what damage could Zach really have done? And even if he crashed it by himself, don't think Cody would have been at fault there, because he's just standing there as it's happening. Not like, but here, because he went after Zach in another submarine, they both cracked the thing, which leads into the ocean, and yeah, he gets kicked out of his internship. Then the guy comes back, and I called it. The guy comes back, and he's like, actually, I have interest in using you both for the Gemini project. It's about twins, and I'm like, he's an evil twin, isn't he? He's not the guy from before, he's a twin, isn't he? And he's messing with them. I was right. But the way they do it, it's so weird. So, he gives them an address and leads them to Dr. Olson, who's performing his experiments with the same fruit that London ate. Though, technically with the rules, it shouldn't work on London. It was only supposed to work on twins. I don't know. And later, they talk to the doctor guy, the real doctor guy, not his twin brother. He's like, yes, we feed the dolphins and they can communicate with each other. Okay, but did you feed those crabs too? That were at the sea place? Did you feed the crabs those fruit too? Because how did she talk to the crabs? That doesn't make any sense. So anyway, Dr. Olson, he talks to them about the experiment, and eventually he gives them the fruit. They say it's part of his experiment, and so then they start feeling each other's pain, and then they start hearing each other's thoughts, which helps them communicate better. You know each other, and I do like the scene where Cody starts to cry, and Zach starts crying because he feels the same emotion, and so then, yeah, that works. It works. The scene works. It really works. But so this experiment seems like it could really be a legitimate experiment, but they had to make it some evil, mustache-twirling villain plot at the end, because when they go to look at the thing, look at the computer about what it's about. By the way, in this scene, Cody's reading something that's not on the screen, which leads me to believe it was supposed to be on there, and they put the wrong screen on there. It's talking about the merging, but there's no words on the screen. Eventually, the two will merge, and he'll be able to mind control them. For some reason, so they get caught, and they try to escape, and this begins a long, long, long chase, where they're running around saw blades, they're running on like a dock or something. They jump into the water while they're immediately caught by the evil twins that are there. And then, yeah. Meanwhile, they have went back to the Institute because, well, Bailey finally read the letter that Cody wrote for her that she threw out. She found it, she read it. And in this scene, I face-palmed. Because she's like, oh, Cody's only doing his internship so he can go to Yale with me. And Woody goes, yeah, I know. Then why didn't you say anything? Why did you let this girl go around shitting on your friend and not once say, well, Cody's only doing this so he can get to Yale? Why didn't you say that? Not once. It's also frustrating when no one else also said it. Zach could have said it because he knew. Cody said it. He definitely knew. But no. So they go to the internship and talk to the guy, and he's like, well, I kicked him out of here. And that's when he realized, oh, it wasn't him. It was the evil twin. So I was like, I was right. It was an evil twin. It has to be. It has to be. They play it up so much with this twist, by the way, because they don't even reveal it here. He's just like, I kicked him out, and I haven't seen him since. And I'm like, but you were the one that, it's the evil twin, isn't it? I was right. I gotta be right. But the way they go about it, when they mentioned the Gemini Project, because apparently one of the dolphins overheard the conversation and tells London where they are. How is she still able to talk to dolphins? By then the fruit should have wore off. I'm serious. So, also, while they were down there, Zach was eating some of the fruit, so he was repeating Cody's words, but it doesn't go anywhere. And now we get to the lab with this force field around it as the rest of the people show up. They also call Mr. Mosby for help to bring him back into this movie for no reason, really. So this is where it's revealed that actually this Dr. Olson, who's played by a different actor, John Ducey plays Donald Spaulding. It's revealed that they had this different actor playing this character so he can reveal a mask that he goes to flashbacks with and keeps taking it off in the flashbacks, that he was the violin player on the ship. He was the janitor at the Institute. And the twins were working for him, so they were already mind control. I don't know. The twin girls. They're there. The one that Zach chased, one of the twin girls. And he somehow got Zach to go in the thing, and knowing Cody would chase after him for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, he's this evil twin, Ronald Spaulding. Because the running gag is that every twin, Ronald and Donald, Nellie and Kelly, Ben and Sven, they all rhyme together except for Zach and fucking Cody. What was the point of that running joke? Zach and Cody don't rhyme, but everyone else is because they're twins. Is it because everyone else gets along and they don't? Which leads to the end of this, because he's going to merge them because they become so close. Well, then they start fighting in an astral projection and it causes the merge to stop and the machine to explode, and they go back in their own bodies, and then he is put under arrest. But they make them eat the fruit, which allows them to get to understand each other more. I do like the line. He's like, maybe when I get out, we can go to lunch. You got a person, we can go to lunch. He goes, I'll wait right here. I'll be 137 years old, but I'll wait right here. Okay, that's kind of funny. How does he know how many years he's going to get in prison for this? Get out for good behavior, right? You could also visit him in prison. You know this, right? They have visitation there. Sorry. Thirsty. So, there's also a running gag where Zach wants the car that Cody's going to get. The car that he's supposed to get when he gets into college. And he keeps asking for it. At the end, he gets the card. Now, remind you that Cody hasn't gotten to college yet. Spoiler alert, he doesn't get into college. So how does Zach get the car? Doesn't matter. London's summer luggage canister thing fell on it. Which also doesn't make sense because they're close to graduation. She wouldn't need her summer clothes because she's going to graduate. As you can say, well, it's London. She's so stupid you wouldn't know she'd graduate. Again, it feels like these people didn't know what was really going on. But they mentioned graduation at the beginning of the movie. That's where it ends. It's over. And despite the fact that I'm pretty sure that whole... How long were they gone? Because it's like, after they save them, they're like, oh, we did everything on our list together for spring break. And I'm like, wait. What amount of time passed here? I assumed that it was taking up most of the spring break time at the Institute or the Gemini Project place. But no? Maybe it was only for a few days, I guess. I don't know. It seemed like the experiment would take longer, but who knows? So, out of all three of these, it's definitely the worst one. But I don't think it's a terrible movie like the other people who reviewed this do. I think it's fine. I think it, for the most part, it represents some part of the Zack and Cody franchise, but they're arguing and they're opposite. I did like... I went like this a little bit. When Ronald starts yelling about how Donald was always more successful than he is, and was always smarter than him, and he gets that going, I feel you, brother. I did laugh at that. So yeah, it had its moments. And I was like, why do we have a subplot of London talking to dolphins? And then once it becomes relevant to the plot, it's like, really? Was that whole plot so that she could eventually be the one that finds Zack and Cody? Because, really? I don't know. I'll give it a middle of the road. It's fine. It's fine. It's just fine. So there you have it. So what are your thoughts on The Sweet Life, the movie? Let me know how much you like, share, and subscribe, or The Sweet Life movie, whatever. I'm not sure what I'm doing next, actually. It's fun. I don't know. I'll figure it out, though. I'll figure it out eventually. But I'm a third of the way done, almost. This is number 10. So I'm about a third of the way done. So thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.